We'll stand. I've asked fellow veteran Joe Ledbetter to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the February 13th, 2017 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I currently serve as chair of the commission and represent District 3, alongside Commissioner Shelley Bueller, who represents District 1, and Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First item, please.
Item 2, unfinished business number 1, consider approval of Home Rule Resolution HR 2017-1, establishing the Shawnee County Building Code, second reading.
Mr. Beagle or county counselors to get us started.
Barry Beagle, Shawnee County Planning Department. The resolution before you is what was introduced to you last Thursday. It provides for the adoption of a building code, which essentially mirrors those codes that are currently in effect within the city of Topeka, which would apply in the unincorporated area.
Okay, thank you. And this has been reviewed by the counselor's office and approved as to form.
Good morning, Jim Kraus, Shawnee County Councilor. Yes, it has.
Okay, thank you. This is the second reading, and we anticipate taking action this morning. Is there anyone who would like to make a comment on the proposed building code? Now is your chance.
Ladies first.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I'm Carol Marple, and I live in southern Shawnee County. I tried to do a little research over the weekend. Shawnee County has approximately 178,725 people, and the County Commission charged a 19-member appointed committee to come up with these proposed building codes. There was no public opinion asked for. When the first notices or first reading about the building codes came up before the County Commission on December 29th, I had asked when the next meeting of the building code meeting would be, and that was February the 6th. When I finally got there, because the location was changed and I was not notified, I saw city employees, I saw county employees, and I saw perhaps 5 or 6 committee members. But then maybe the other ones weren't notified about the meeting change location either, I don't know. But that's not enough people. These building codes will affect everybody in this county, not just a handful of people. And I said what I said at the last meeting, we have enough rules in this county we cannot enforce. We don't need more on it. I would ask that after a building permit today is granted, is there any follow-up by the office? And my guess would be no, because they simply do not have the staff to do that. You know, they don't look to see, is the driveway been put in? Do a couple houses share the same driveway? Is the building that's there, that was built, is it set away from the property line? None of that is checked out. And these are rules that we have now. And there are resources available to people that are going to build houses, and usually that's the single most, the biggest purchase that an individual makes is building or buying a house, and they take a lot of time, I would hope, to do this. I was at the garden show this weekend. The Better Business Bureau just put out their accredited business directory. You know, there are things out there. I would ask that if the county commission is going to continue with this, that they put it on hold and they have several well-publicized, and I must stress that, well-publicized meetings and allow the public to come and give their thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other discussion?
Yes, sir.
Morning, Commissioners. I know I spoke, seems like I was just here, but I have some more concerns I want to raise. My client told me go ahead and name him. His name's Fred Sanders. He has 70 acres over by Lake Shawnee. I talked to other individuals over the weekend. I wish we'd had more time. They were at the garden show. I went over there, talked to Brown's Tree Service. There were some other gardening companies that said they do not want codes outside the city limits. And I hope some of them emailed you. I don't know. I said, this thing is coming up so fast, it's very hard to organize what I'd like to organize, which is try to find out on the record if there really is a public outcry that has been alluded to about the need for this. So far, in listening to the last meeting and the meeting before, I have not heard any specificity about code violations that were life-threatening. I have not heard that the sky's falling. I have not heard that people are running to anybody, public or otherwise, and saying we've got to have codes outside the city limits. When you look at Shawnee County as opposed to the city of Topeka, which does have codes, the city of Topeka has 64 square miles. They are called built up. They are somewhat condensed, hence it's a city, hence city codes. When you look at Shawnee County, outside the city limits, it's approximately 490 square miles. Over 200 square miles, according to what I could find, is agricultural and farmland. But that does not mean, in my opinion, from what I've read about this, that they would be exempt from codes on their homes. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, I want to differentiate, because that question was asked me of somebody Friday when I had a discussion, why the difference between the city and the county? Why would we not need them outside the city if we need them in the city? And I said, well, there's a number of reasons. So let's talk about it. Number one, the city of Topeka has a lower homeownership ratio than outside the city limits. Although it's high, it's 58%, and it's as high as probably 80 and 90% in some neighborhoods. We have some very nice neighborhoods in the city of Topeka. Even some of them occasionally find the need for code enforcement because somebody moves out of a house and puts their maybe crazy Uncle Jim in, and they are basically destroying the valuation of the neighborhood. So they have to go to code enforcement if they're functional, and if they answer the phone and say, I've got a problem over here, will you do something about it? That's because it's built up. Outside the city, we have less dense neighborhoods, although there are some around the lake, Lake Shawnee, Lake Sherwood, that are a little denser. But also look at the valuation of the houses. Most neighborhoods outside the city limits, you're not going to get in for less than about $150,000. And so people spending more money, and that includes in the city, tend to take better care of their properties than if somebody's only spent $30,000 or $40,000 on it. And they may not have the means to do as good a job. But the problem is, in the city of Topeka, we've got slumlords. And in some neighborhoods, they're out of control. So we have code enforcement that is supposed to be regulating these people. Now, one of the things, I want to make sure I've covered everything. So we have valuation differences, we have home ownership differences, and we have density differences. So one of the things that's being brought up in putting codes on outside the city limits is that there's this need for code enforcement. And what bothers me is I don't know where the, as much as anything, is where's this train going? I don't get on trains unless I know where it's going. I heard at this last meeting, which was different from the meeting of December 29th, that we may enter into an interlocal agreement with the city of Topeka to enforce whatever we pass today if we pass it. I also heard that we may do other things. We may have our own enforcement. We may have our own people. But what I also heard at one of the contractor meetings I went to, and that was the only one I went to, because these were not held at the library at night where the public felt comfortable and would be invited. And these people are decent people. I went into the meeting, I had no problem, but I don't think most of the members of the public are going to go in the afternoon to a contractor's office and go upstairs to a meeting. I just don't think they're going to feel comfortable doing that. So not everybody's me, and I understand that. But at the library, you know, if they'd had these meetings at the library, which I've actually paid for meetings at the library for Citizens for Accountability in Government when we had some meetings there, I paid for that myself. Why couldn't we have had some of these meetings at the public library so we could understand if there's really a need for this? Heard from realtors, heard from not just other builders, but heard from neighborhood owners and people that own property in neighborhoods. I've had several relatives that have owned houses outside the city limits in subdivisions. One of them's a son of mine. He very aggressive, he likes to buy stuff, and very good kid. He bought a house over Lake Sherwood, not on the water, but he stayed there 10 years, and I was in that house many times, and we never saw any code enforcement violations. It was a good, well-built brick house, and now he sold it. I've been in other relatives' houses in different subdivisions. I never once heard any hue and outcry about, we don't have codes, we're having problems, our house is falling down, we don't know what's going on. I have not heard these complaints, and I have so far not heard of specific examples in these meetings of an outcry as to why we have to have this. So let's talk about where the train's going, that we don't know where it's going. I don't know if the bridge is out ahead or what, but I'm being told we're getting on a train that this is the first start, or the first step. Now we're going to possibly have licensing of contractors outside the city limits, okay? I oppose that as well. That's going to drive costs up. That's going to drive costs up for homeowners. I am concerned about this affidavit. I've already said that to one of the commissioners. This affidavit taken out, and I don't think we've had a good vetting or a discussion about this, but if a homeowner takes this out, they're opening themselves up with an affidavit that they're going to be absolutely responsible, as I read this, for all the codes that could possibly be, or that would be part of this act. And I don't know that a lot of homeowners are that cognizant or knowledgeable about codes. Okay, so then the person complaining says, well, why don't you go get a builder, okay? So the builder, and I'm not saying anybody in this group would do that, so the builder takes this affidavit and tells the homeowner, well, you go get it, I'm too busy today. So the homeowner, unsuspecting, goes down, fills it out. Now who's responsible for meeting the codes if this comes to a court action within, say, a 5-year period of time of contracts? Okay, what's to make what is, and I've raised this last time, I may not have honed in on it like I'm going to today. This affidavit gets filled out by a sub, an electrical contractor. The builder tells him, you go down and get it, I don't have time today. He's unsuspecting, maybe he's a little naive. He knows about code enforcement, but he has not consulted with a lawyer and seen what he's signing. So he signs for this. He's basically saying, I'm responsible for all the codes in that house being met. You say, well, that can't happen? Okay. Well, I'm not sure of that. In fact, I believe it can happen if somebody wants to be that way and try to avoid their responsibilities. Another thing that I have not had time to research, but I can't find any examples of from what I was able to find out, are any jurisdictions in Shawnee County or Topeka requiring that we sign affidavits with permits. This seems like an extra step that potentially could be a sword against the contractors, including these contractors. Let's say we have a house that's built for $250,000, okay? And I'm just doing hypothetical here. We have a house built for $250,000. The family, couple, decides they're going to get divorced 2 years later. They're not happy. They're not happy with the house. They're not happy with each other. Now we're looking for money, valuation, okay? So they start nitpicking the house, saying, okay, I found this wasn't right, this exactly wasn't according to code. Maybe it was an inadvertent mistake, but you took out an affidavit and said everything in here is according to code. Now the divorce lawyers are involved. They're looking for money, saying, hey, you know, we may have a cause of action here against the builder. I mean, it's only 2 years ago. So what I'm saying is these affidavits, these are very powerful. I personally, maybe somebody else can correct me on this, I don't know any way to keep an affidavit out of court unless it's fraudulent. So that's a pretty high standard. This comes in, and now we're going after a contractor, his insurance company. Maybe one of these claims is going to tie him up in court long enough, his insurance company drops him because he filled out one of these affidavits, and he couldn't escape it. I don't know why a permit has to have an affidavit attached to it. If you do what I hope you don't do, and that's pass this today, even without the affidavit, I don't know why the permit wouldn't imply that you're following the codes if you have a code. I don't understand the need to attach an affidavit. Again, I'm not positive that this has been well thought through. I'm not positive that this group brought in anybody legally to explain to them this could be used against them as well. And maybe at this point they don't care. They might care in a few years. But I guess my feeling about this, and certainly my client's feeling about it, is this thing is rushed. It feels rushed, even though there's been an 18-month period of time. And I'm not doubting that these people met. The public wasn't aware of it. I just was made aware of a meeting, and I went to it last Monday. And, you know, Ivan let me speak. I mean, he probably didn't have to. I think these meetings should be public meetings if we're going to deal with public policy. But this feels rushed because it just now came out in the public. I think there's a lot of people that, if they really think this through, are going to say, you know, I have never needed these. I've been just fine without them. And there may be a few examples, which have not been put into the record, about people that made mistakes, didn't contact a lawyer, didn't have an architect, didn't have a builder that they should have investigated. The government cannot protect you from all of your own mistakes, okay? They just can't. And I don't feel there's a compelling need to do this. And with that, I'll take questions.
Questions?
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Was anyone else interested in making comments this morning? Absolutely. For the record, if you would give us your name.
Catherine Hamilton,
Morning.
a recent retiree and recently moved to Shawnee County. I lived in the city for 20 years, and I've moved now to the county. And I was surprised to find out we didn't have building codes similar to Topeka's. I've worked as a nursing home administrator. I've worked as a social worker. I understand the importance of licensing because it protects us. There's knowledge there that not everyone has. And to me, it's shocking that we don't have protection that requires licensed people to help with buildings. In my own neighborhood, we have about 20 households, and I heard stories of furnaces not correctly connected that caught fire when new owners moved in. I heard a story of someone whose sewer line wasn't connected to the city sewer system or the county sewer system. So when they first moved into a brand new home, it all backed up and the whole neighborhood experienced that. There have been shocking lapses that consumers couldn't be aware of, couldn't know would happen when they bought their home. They bought with trust that the systems would work, that the contractors would do their job. And in my mother's case, it was a simple matter of a banister that didn't go all the way to the top. And we didn't recognize it as a danger until the person that came and told us this wouldn't meet city code in Topeka, but it does in the county. There's no protection. So what I hear in the paper makes me think that people need to speak up for own protection. That's why regulations exist. And people talk like it's a black or white. Either we have protection or we don't. It should be a balance. There always has to be a balance. And whatever you decide today doesn't have to be a final decision, black and white. These are the regs as they'll stand forever. They're probably going to have to be adjusted through time and either be more strict or less strict, or a system for appealing exceptions to regulations. I know regulations can go overboard, and I know a complete lack of regulation can allow for exploitation and terrible problems. I hope you'll use the wisdom that we count on you to have and find the middle way. We need some kind of regulation, clearly, so that it protects consumers and neighborhoods from exploitation or carelessness. And I count on you all to have that wisdom and knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Other discussion this morning?
I'll make a comment.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't going to, but after that. My name's Steve Henning. I live in the county. I built a home, it was a year and a half ago, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no code violations. There's, as far as if you build in the county, generally it's a lagoon or a septic that you're hooking to. You don't have to worry about hooking to any city sewer or anything like that. I've owned 5 homes, 3 of them in the city and 2 of them in the county. And of those 5, I had more trouble with the homes in the city than I did in the county. I love my home. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I hope we put this genie back in the box. Let's don't let this thing out. We don't need codes in the county. We're doing just fine. It's just not necessary. And I hate to see where this is all going to go in the end. So let's put an end to it today, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Anyone else like to make a comment on the proposed building code? Well, then I'll turn to my fellow commissioners. Commissioner Bueller, any thoughts, questions for anyone?
It's been mentioned a couple times that this process has been rushed, and Ivan, I'm going to ask you to answer a couple questions because I think we've tried to take the time. We know it's a serious resolution. It's going to have implications, and so we've tried not to rush it. I mean, this was on the agenda in December, but we and others have been working on it for a number of months. Can you tell us a little bit about that process?
Thank you, Commissioner Bueller. Ivan Weichert, CEO for Topeka Home Builders Association. Rushed is hardly a term that should even be entertained. It's coming up on 2 years for this particular effort. We at first, at the request of the Commission, met for many months to answer the question, should we have building codes? That was our charge. We had public hearings. We met at the, I can't remember, Barry, where was it? the community center up in North Topeka and invited everyone that we could think of in public. It was noticed in the papers, everything. We had another follow-up meeting similar to that. So it's been noticed, it's been done above board. I think the reference to meeting in a contractor's office, it was convenience. I mean, and the last time we were to meet at the North Annex, the county building, we were unable to at the last minute because the whole front was being torn up for concrete work. There was no place for anybody to park. So we sent out notices. We even waited. We had heard that some people wanted to attend the meeting, but we're just now finding out it had been moved. So we waited to start the meeting until they arrived. In the second half of our deliberations, after we had come to the commission and received a vote to come forward and bring a possible program on how this would be done, it again started our meetings. We had many opportunities for people to attend. We even had another public meeting and invited people, and many people did attend. So it was noticed and attended. Rushed is hardly a term, and I think the timeline given to us by the commission was to come back by the end of 2016, and we did. And we're still working on it now. We're not concerned about that. We did our due diligence. We had a lot of people involved who know the industry. We reached out to public to have input. Is this of concern to you? At one of the first meetings almost a year and a half ago, I think we had about 7 people attend. That was how important it was. I'd say the lack of an outcry is due to the feeling by some people that they have no recourse. Who are they going to cry to? They just didn't know, and they didn't take that action. I think that was spoken to. Did they do their due diligence in hiring a contractor? Perhaps not. So who do you complain to? But we've worked very hard and consistently and openly to see this come before the commission, and I appreciate everyone that's spoken to it for or against, because it makes a well-rounded presentation for you. Any questions, other?
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
I guess I just bring that to light because we are also having conversations about a comprehensive plan, and that process is a year-long process, if not more. It's as detailed as this, and it's talking about the unincorporated areas of the county. So, again, I think when we're dealing with these matters, we're trying to do it in an informed fashion, and so I don't think I have any more questions or comments.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Cook, I've seen you furiously taking notes there, so
Well,
do you have comments or questions?
Commissioner, thank you. I would just let the commissioners know, I thank Catherine very much, Ms. Hamilton, for her comments. I think that she very adequately and eloquently stated really what the issue is. It's striking a balance between over-burdensome regulations and not having any regulations that then allows for exploitation. And that's the role of the commission, is to be able to strike that balance between those two ways. And I think that this does strike that balance. It provides some regulation, it provides some accountability, but it is not so overburdensome and regulatory that it becomes a bureaucracy. And I think that it is meets the test of what we are looking for, and I am ready to proceed to action when it comes time to make the motion to approve it.
Okay. Is that a motion?
It so is.
Okay.
I'll second.
I will support the building code proposal, although until the last week or two, I've never had a constituent contact me about a problem. But I've heard enough anecdotal information that I think it's enough evidence for me to support it. What I will not support is taxpayers subsidizing any inspection process. When the committee came to us in December, I thought it was absurd to propose an elaborate enforcement scheme that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, required supervisor, inspectors, support staff. And there are only 100 to 120 residences that are built in the unincorporated area each year. So that was absurd. I will support, in my opinion, the affidavit process that we're going to implement is sufficient. So, motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 3, consent agenda.
I have no questions. I'd move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Mr. Chairman, this morning we have vouchers that total $349,815.57. The highlights out of those vouchers are the holding accounts with the state of Kansas for $188,792.68, workers' compensation payments to Thomas and McGee of $23,581.99, and then the payment to Finney and Turnip Seed for building contract or bridge contracting work of $30,204.39. And those are really the highlights out of the voucher report. I have no questions. I would move for their approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the vouchers by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the correction orders by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. And that motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B, District Attorney number 1, consider approval of Resolution 2017-6, authorizing the issuance of a credit card with a credit limit of $7,500 to Brenda Albright in the District Attorney's Office.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Kagay, District Attorney.
Good morning.
I appreciate your consideration of this resolution today. Brenda Albright is our victim witness supervisor, and she will be performing duties that have historically been performed by Kathy Beach, who's my executive assistant, as far as arranging for ground transportation for any subpoenaed witnesses and victims who are necessary to proceed here in District Court.
Good. I'll move to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Motion made to adopt the resolution by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, DA. Next item, please.
Item C, Parks and Recreation number 1, consider approval of letter contract C50-2017 to the Kansas Department of Transportation, assuming ownership and responsibility for the maintenance and repair of the Southwest Fairlawn to Southwest 29th Trail sidewalk that is being constructed by the City of Topeka.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. Just prior to the merger of the Parks and Rec departments back in 2012, this project received approvals as a City of Topeka project. It remained that way and was negotiated that way in the merger agreement. If you'll recall, there's been a couple of times I've came back before you. We've set aside some of our dollars to participate, and then we revised those numbers a short while later after that. Now they're getting ready to start the project up. It remains a City of Topeka project, but the Kansas Department of Transportation has asked for some clarification to ensure that that becomes Shawnee County's obligation into the future. We've worked close with the County Counselor's Office to draft this letter. Terry Bertles is here and could also answer any kind of specific questions you may have, but I'll be happy to answer any other questions.
Questions or comments? Yes,
Just one.
Commissioner
When's
Bueller.
the anticipated completion date for this project?
I believe the original one was sometime in 2013.
13?
This is a City of Topeka project. I don't control that, and I don't want to throw our counterparts over, but we had to rush around last spring and get some trees cleared out of the way because of a nesting owl over there. I thought at that time that was going to ramp up the project, and we're back again this spring. Terry, do you have anything else you'd like to add to that? Do you know a better date than me before I get in trouble with the city of Topeka?
Terry Burgles, Parks and Recreation. I have it in good confidence that it's a late February, early March start date, and it will be a summer project and should be completed by the end of this calendar year, certainly.
That's good, because I've seen this come on the agenda a couple different times, and I think
You're a
it's
Johnny
an
come lately
important-
as this project is concerned. You're a Johnny come lately. I've been in this for a decade now, it seems like.
Okay, all righty, well, let's get it done.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Any other difficult
No,
questions?
Move approval.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners, and when it does get in, it'll be a great addition to the trail system.
Exactly.
Yes.
It sure will. Thank you, John. Next item, please.
Item D, Public Works Solid Waste. Number 1, consider approval of request to extend Traxxas GPS Solutions engine diagnostic GPS services at a cost of $1,257.75 a month.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Flanagan, Public Works / Solid Waste. We would very much like to extend the contract we currently have with Traxxas to provide this diagnostic service on our fleet equipment and our GPS, and the GPS service it also provides. It gives us real-time diagnosis of what might be happening on any truck at any time, reported back to the annex. We'd like to continue this service.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here, Tom. Next item, please.
Item E, Commission. Number 1, consider appointment of Jeff McMillan as the county's representative on the ACT Work Ready Committee's team.
Barbara Stapleton is here again this morning. I don't know if you had additional comments. I know we talked about it a week or so ago, and Mr. McMillan has depth experience in the ACT workshop, Work Ready program, and I appreciate Betty letting him participate in this. Any comments or questions? Yes, Commissioner Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we let Barbara go, I know she spoke at it on Wednesday to the JADO meeting, but just kind of an update again on Payless, working on finding some job placement. Barbara, if you might just, is there an upcoming? Yes, please. I mean, because I think this is an issue that is important to our community to talk about when there is economic impacts, what we do to try to keep our workforce here in Topeka, which is part of the ACT program and what it does as well.
Absolutely. So, yes, Commissioner Cook, thank you. Barbara Stapleton, I'm with Go Topeka. One of the things that we're working on right now, on February 23rd, we will be hosting a kind of a mix and mingle career fair from 4 to 6 p.m. for potentially impacted Payless employees, but we want to make sure that it includes anybody who's been affected by IT, finance, or accounting. That's kind of what we're targeting that evening. And we currently have, I believe, 14 different employers that are represented that will be there that night. It'll be a really quick 5-minute mix and mingle. You have the opportunity to say, hey, do I want to hear more about this person? Here's our website, go apply, or sure, give me your resume. And then they continue to kind of move on almost in a speed dating type format. So that's one of the things that we're hosting later this month. Was there more that you wanted me to?
Thank you. I just want to make sure that, again, I know we talked about it at the JADO meeting, but JADO was really about Washburn Tech and Washburn East Learning Center. And this is a big item, and I would hate it to be not get the proper attention.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would move for approval of the appointment of Mr. McMillan to the ACT board.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 5, Administrative Communications, update on Project Topeka campaign.
Okay, Brian, I think this is you.
I was doing some There's a job fair, I want to be involved. Brian Cole, the Department of Corrections, but also Project Topeka. It's going well. A lot of different things are, everybody's hit the ground running. I first want to thank all the department heads for getting their information to our team on who's representing or who will be the contact for the departments and agencies and offices. If you haven't done so, please get that to us, to Stacy Wonder with Parks and Rec, so we can get that contact information out. But I wanted just to remind everybody real quick that we do have our online auction. We're taking items now like new items, handcrafted items, things like that. We need to get all that information to the office down here at the Commission office by the 24th. There will be, Stephanie with IT will be getting a link so we can get that information out. It will start by 8 o'clock on March 6th and will end Friday, March 10th at noon. We ask everybody to please monitor your bids and things like that so we can get that information going. Other things that are going on, Jeannie Wyrick, we don't have the flyer yet. We'll be selling cotton candy Thursday, February 23rd from 7:30 to 1 for Project Topeka. DOC, we don't have our flyer out yet, but we have a big food day where we do fish sandwiches. We also have Mexican food. We will sell out of these fish sandwiches. We always do. I'll get that information out. Backed by popular demand, Public Works has 2 lucky winners will receive a tray of 4 dozen home-baked cookies. This is always a good food. That is great. They're going to have another raffle regarding Create Your Own Sundae from Public Works, a big basket of things, and you can create your own ice cream novelties if you'd like. We also have cookies that is going to be sponsored with Register of Deeds, and the Elections Office will be hosting a cookie sale on February 4th, February 14th tomorrow from 7:30 till sold out. Get here early. Again, I want to remind everybody that the Health Department and everybody is going to be putting on for the Project Topeka the Food Sculpture Challenge. This is always a fun event for everybody. It runs February 8th through the 28th. Judging will be March 1st through the 3rd. There is a flyer out on the website that has all the rules and eligibility, things like that. So with that said, there's a lot going on. Please get your items out. If you have any questions, please contact Jane, Kim, myself, or anybody on the board or on the Project Topeka team, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. And we hope this will be a good campaign for us.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you very much. Other administrative communications.
I'm going to give you a little display. Steve Bauman, County Appraiser, and Mr. Cole, I think we were unfairly judged last year because we clearly won the sculpture contest. Just throwing that out there. We are getting ready to send out our 2017 valuation notices, and they're going to go out February 15th, 2 weeks earlier than normal. A lot of that is due to the new legislation that moved up our certification date from June 15th to June 1st. And then also there was additional legislation dealing with the tax lid that creates some additional challenges for our clerk's office, so we're going to try and certify even earlier than that. So we moved up the process. It was a good year for Shawnee County. Market indications, our values are staying positive. Had 223 new home permits in 16 versus 209 the last 2 years. So starting to move upward. Sales, this is all sales, transfers of ownerships, 3,925 in 16, up from 3,746. So again, very good indications that Shawnee County is healthy. Here it is broken out by month, and again, show this slide to give it a breakout per month to show that there's no really large anomalies. Looks like we're tailing off a little bit in December. So overall value indications, looks like both our commercial and residential markets are going up approximately 2.3%. That's on average countywide. Not all submarkets will see that increase. There's some areas that are seeing a little bit of a decrease. And not all properties are going to be going up. So GIS created a high-level overview of our increases, our trends. You can see the light blue, which covers the majority of the county, is on average about a 2% trend increase. The dark purple, light purple are 4 and 5%. There's not very many of them. However, when we were in our strong market prior to the 2008 drop, that's what we were typically seeing, was 4-5%. So I suspect that we will eventually get back up there. We're not quite there yet. So, and those percentage of increase, Sunflower Association of Realtors has a report that it's kind of illustrating the same thing as what we're seeing. Days on market are down. Sales volume is up. Supply is down. So we're at a 3-month supply of homes available for sale, which is lower than what I think realtors would like to see. I've heard from several that indicated that they need more homes to sell. So if you're wanting to sell your house, now would be a good time. As far as new construction, looks like residential new construction, we're adding about 52.9 million this year, and commercial just over 35 million. With that 35 million, that's not going to be seen as, by the time we certify, we're probably not going to keep all of that, because a lot of that is going to fall off under economic development exemptions and IRB exemptions. But there's some good activity happening. So our change of value notices, they are going out February 15th. We're only going to mail them to those properties that have seen a change in classification or value. So if the property value has not changed, we're not going to mail out a notice. Process has saved us about $175,000 over the last 6 years. So you created out of necessity in order for us to save money to avoid losing another person. We started doing this, and it's proved very successful in not only saving taxpayers money, but giving us the opportunity to find other ways to inform the public. And so I think they're better informed, because right now you can go to our website and see it at any time. You don't have to dig through old paperwork to try and find your notice. So the 2017 valuation notice is not there yet, but it will be. So this year we're mailing just over 41,000 notices. That's about double what we sent last year, which was double than what we sent the year before. So again, another indication that our market is starting to improve. Approximately 80% of those notices will have an increase associated with them. So as part of our agreement for only sending those notices that change, I need to inform the public that if you did not get a notice and you would like one, they will be available on our website at www.snco.us/AP if you want to go directly to our site. Or you can call our taxpayer assistance line at 232-4461, and we'd be happy to mail a notice, or email a notice, fax a notice. However a person would like their notice, we'll try and make that happen. So they can stop by and we'll print one for them, or they can print one off our internet again. Or they can send me an email to snappraiser@snco.us, and we'll be happy to make sure that they get their notice. With us sending valuation notices early, it's going to move up a lot of the process. So March 17th will be the last day to file an appeal. Now, you don't need a notice in order to file the appeal. Our phone lines, that 232-4461, will be open and available to call in to either schedule appeal, ask questions, get a copy of your notice. Our appraisers will be answering the phones the first week, and that's in order for us to be able to help answer some questions. We've eliminated a lot of appeals because a lot of the phone hearings or phone calls that first week are generally questions. And how did you appraise my property? And we can cover that over the phone as well. If they're still not satisfied about the valuation of the property, then we can assist them with getting the appeal scheduled. You can print off a valuation notice, and on the back of it will also be an appeal form that they can fill out and turn in to us either by email, dropping it off, or regular mail, and we'll get those hearings scheduled as well. And then if a taxpayer decides that they didn't want to appeal at the informal, or they missed the deadline, they can still pay that under protest in December when their first half comes due, or again in May 10th when their second half comes due. You get to pick one. You can't have more than one. So either at the informal level or at the payment under protest level. But hopefully we can get everything moved up in the schedule, get our hearings completed sooner so that we can get certified sooner so City can start her work. That's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Cook.
Mr. Baumann, if there is a home sale that occurs in Shawnee County, one person buys a house from another person, and the appraiser's office does not have a change in valuation, does the new homeowner get a first notice of valuation? Or since there's no change, would they have any notice?
They would not get a notice.
Okay. And what notice do we have that, when we have a home sale, sometimes the argument is made, I bought my house for less than what the county has it appraised at, so it must be less than what the county has it appraised at because I paid less. Is that what we look at?
We do consider that. The sale of a singular property is pretty persuasive, so we'll put a lot of weight on that. It doesn't necessarily mean that sale in and of itself is the market value. There are other factors that can come into play, so we'll take a look at that, review our information, review the details of the sale, and I would suggest that if a person does purchase a property for less than what we have it on at, that they go ahead and schedule an appeal and we'll be able to take a look at it.
Okay. I think that's pretty important news, and I hope that all of our media people pick up on that, that would be for a new homeowner to be able to schedule that meeting with your office about their valuation.
Correct. And they could also go online and pull that information up as well. There's a lot of information on our website that's available, and we make that available, and that helps serve as another quality control level. Because if people find something wrong on our internet, they usually let us know, so that's helpful.
Thank you.
No questions.
I think this is important information, but I got to tell you, I'm disappointed that it came up in administrative communications. This type of information should be a separate agenda item, and I'm asking that it be put on Thursday's agenda and go over the same thing, because we need to notify the public when we're going to discuss something that's important. So please plan on doing it again Thursday. The public will be notified, and if the public wants to make comments on it, then they can. Thank you.
I will. I am going to also put out a press release.
Okay.
Also for the valuation notices.
Okay. But when important items come up like this, a significant presentation, they ought to be an agenda item so that the public is noticed instead of bringing it up in administrative communications. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other administrative communication?
Good morning, Commissioners. Justin Gregory, Kansas Expo Center. I just wanted to give everybody a heads up on what we had a great home and garden show this weekend. Weather could not have been any better. It was great to see some familiar faces in and about the Land and Exhibition Hall this weekend. Coming up this coming weekend, the circus comes to town. They will actually be here on Tuesday. But the shows begin Friday at night at 7 p.m., Saturday at 2:30 and 7:30 p.m., Sunday at 12:30 p.m., and again at 5:30 p.m. on Sunday. Coupled with our circus and Land and Arena, we also have the RV and Sports Show in Exhibition Hall, and we also are hosting the Capital City Cycle Show in Ag Hall. So again, if you're 8 or 80, there's nothing better than going to the circus. And this weekend at the Expo Center, we will actually be hosting a 5-ring circus with the RV Sports Show and the Cycle Show included with our circus. So be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Appreciate it. Anyone else for administrative communications this morning? Commissioner Cook?
I don't have anything this
Nothing?
morning.
Commissioner Bueller?
If I can talk. Just a couple of things. Had the chance to go to the Conservation District annual meeting on Thursday, and that's where they give all their annual awards. And there was one award in particular, the Water Conservation Award, that was received by CalCan Enterprises. And I'm going to read this off of an article that was in TK Magazine. They are a 6,000 square foot hydroponics greenhouse that grows lettuce. And so it was just a really interesting story. So I encourage everybody to follow up on that. They were well deserving of that award. And then Friday, traveled to Kansas City, Kansas to hear from a couple different representatives there about their digital inclusion. Matt Pavarnik, Molly Howie, and Liz Grays and myself attended. And so just learning more about the broadband initiative and what they're doing in Kansas City, Kansas. So.
Very good.
All right.
Very good. Thank you. I don't have anything to add this morning, so next item, please.
Item 6, executive session.
There is not a need for an executive session today, so we are adjourned.